All right, all right. What's going on, boys and girls? So, I'm calling the bottom, right? Who wants to hear the bottom? Let's see. We'll open up the daily chart. The bottom is 3310. 3310, right around this area right here. You mark my words. That's where I call it the bottom. I mean, we may not head straight down there. It's really only about 300 points away, right? 4 with today. I think we're going to make a little bounce, but yeah, that's it. That's the bottom right down there, and it's not far off. It'd be nice to get there before the summer's over, but you know what? Biden's going to have to get busy. He's going to start cutting tariffs. You watch. We're going to start hearing the language shortly. He knew that was in his arsenal. They wanted to hold it for the right time, control the narrative on the economy, and hopefully save his election. I think he's starting to learn that this is a capitalist society, and if the economy's not doing well, if the president's not doing well, nobody cares about the foreign policy. So I think that's where we're at. So that's the bottom. That's what I think is the bottom, 3310. So you could we'll talk about that, or somewhere respectfully close. All right. I don't want to hear it's 3350 or something like that. Somewhere respectfully close. And this business isn't doing things on a gnat's ass. I mean, that's fun and we get to gloat, but the reality is that you get within an area or a region of something. And it's just laying out right like that. It'd be interesting. Let's just see. Well, you know what? I'm not going to do that. We'll take up interesting tomorrow. All right. So to look at the day, we're up right now at about 60 points. I think we're just going to make that move up and then trade down to close the gap. I mean, that's been the culture. It's a sell into the gap up, or it could go into consolidation. Everybody's waiting on the Fed this week and the conference. Really, nothing's going to happen until inflation shows signs of peaking, which sans gas. I'm kind of feeling that now. If you think back, when everybody's saying before they were talking about inflation, and they weren't even, or they were even saying that in talking about inflation was under control, we were feeling it. We were starting to see it in foods, and we were even talking online and saying, yo, is it me, or are things just getting real pricey these days? And by the time they were onto it, we were deep in it. And that's because a lot of the indicators are laggers, and, people are slow to react, and there's a little politics going on. So it's really what you're feeling, and the news and the market and everything is a confirmation of what's really going on around you. You're already feeling it around you before they're talking about it. So now you got to keep your eyes open for the signs. I see food tapering off. I see products tanking. I watch boat prices all the time, and now, I mean, they're just flooring. Flooring. And car prices are starting to seem a little more reasonable. I'm starting to see things around that, and I'm looking at the used car market, starting to see things around that are making sense. Like even a month ago, I was like, wow, I wouldn't pay that for that. Yet, looking at old classics or older cars, I like old pickups and I'd like to look at old Jeeps and also some old classics, some 60s and stuff. I love the Impalas and shit like that. So I always have my eye open for that. Old Camaros. I'm looking for an old Z28. And so I keep watching that. And even bikes, old motorcycles. I love old motorcycles, like old Indians and Triumphs and things like that. So, I'm watching those prices. And, people were getting crazy money. And crazy money for shit. Like, some stuff I used to, call the town to have removed from my neighbor's lawns. And now, they're asking like $5,000 for that. I'm just kidding. I never called the town on anybody. But you got the point, right? I just don't want you guys to think I'm that guy. that bad neighbor. I'm very tolerant. So, but yeah, $5,000 for shit, man. I mean, like the stuff is really like rusted out trash. Like I even try to envision, like, how the hell am I going to fix this thing? But I'm starting to see that taper off. At the supermarkets, things are expensive, but I'm starting to see sales and deals coming off, and like, oh, look at that, or a price that would entice me to buy blueberries and make a pie and shit. So, um, it, it's the beginning. That's my point. You're going to see it before you see it in the reports, and you can start looking to buy and get involved when you start seeing that. Just know that there's probably a little pain ahead of you. But you're getting in before it's mainstream, and that's a good indication. So keep your eye open. I'm starting to see these changes and feel as though it's normalizing. Although oil is making the news, and maybe we'll touch on that a little bit. But the market is still reacting to lagging indicators, and that's why I think that 3310 is a good number and a good bottom, and we're going to keep our eye on that. As far as oil goes, man, very political and almost retaliatory. Little sip of my coffee. Um, the Democrats come in and they're all about the green and the liberal bullshit and everything. And I agree with a lot of the philosophies. I don't agree with the politicians, right? Because they don't care about doing it right or doing it good. They just want to do it to get in the news and get some attention and get some votes. They'll do it. Do something even if it's wrong. That's their fucking theory. And it's not wrong to go green, and I would love to see that, man. I hate the use of fossil fuels. I hate motorboats that are dumping all these acids in our oceans. I hate the plastics all over the place. I hate all that shit. But you can't end industries because we just realized it's a bad idea. I mean, you have millions of people working in these industries, feeding their families, and it's not. I mean, even if it was a high income or high tech or a college based industry, you still can't pull the rug out from under people and expect them to survive. I mean, they're putting kids through colleges, they're saving for retirement, they have a plan, and then you sweep the rug out from them. And that's exactly what the Obama era did with coal and natural gas, or even coal and oil and rolling to natural gas and stuff. They just pulled the rug out from under people. And I mean, there are still coal miners, man. This is not like a history lesson or something. There are communities here in Pennsylvania that people are still coal miners, and there's a whole industry around coal. Actually had a company that was associated with an electrical plant that worked mainly on coal, and the company survived off of the byproducts of the coal, and it manufactured its product through the byproduct of the coal. And it was a very novel idea. That's why I'm not being that thorough, and because it's a good way to pinpoint me. So so anyway, through the Obama era, they started inhibiting coal and the use of coal, and coal prices started skyrocketing because of all the restrictions, and all these plants rolled over. Well, actually, one plant stopped. Just was a temporary power plant, became from a full time power plant to a temporary power plant, and stopped producing, which compromised, obviously that plant and all the employees, but the company I was associated with and everybody who made a living off of that. And they started focusing on their natural gas plants to produce. So it was tons of people out of work. Tons, a whole community that got hammered because all these people went out of work, and all the supporting businesses in the community got hammered because of this very rash and very rapid change in policy. So really bad idea, really bad idea. Without transitioning, figuring out a way to take these communities and do something where they're sustainable. And yeah, you know what, man? I mean, I think we have a responsibility to do that. We have a responsibility to our planet and nature, but we have a responsibility to our citizens and our hardworking people. So that was the bad policy. So anyway, I digress. So now the Democrats come in and do shit like that. So they they have all these restrictions for drilling, and they put all these restrictions and burdens on existing plants and um, drilling operations, refinery operations, and shit like that. So, as a good business sense, and with no other choice, the oil companies have to shut down. They have to slow down their production, or it's not profitable for them to produce the way they did. And now here we are coming back and saying, "Hey, we need oil, we need gas, we need this," and they're like, "Yo, fuck you guys. Where are you when we have the heartache? Where are you?" So now they're being very selfish, being very self-centered, and focusing on their business. They're like, yo, you know what? Our profit margins are high under these circumstances. We're going to keep it like that. We're not going to make additional investment into the industry just for you to have a change of fucking heart when things are good and turn around, pull the rug out from under us. We know the direction the industry is going. We know that there's going to be a slowdown in oil. We're going to focus on electric power and hydrogen power and all that shit. So why make the investment? And that's what's going on. It's very retaliatory, and yet they don't like the Democrats. So this is a fuck you, Democrat. So who's taking the beating? The U.S. public's taking the beating, and regrettably, with all of this inflation, right? What do you hear in the news? It's really not hammering the companies, and the consumer's able to absorb the inflation, and there are good companies out there to invest in. You know why? Because they're fucking making a fortune. They're bumping up they're making you absorb it and increasing their profit margin. So their expenses going up, but they're increasing the cost to the consumer even more. So their profit margins are widening. So these companies are making a fucking bundle. I mean, that's another unfortunate aspect. I mean, corporations are fucking profiting, and the consumer has money, and we're working like fucking dogs. So they're not in fear. They're gonna suck that money out of everybody's account, and then when the shit hits the fan and people are broke and can't buy their goods anymore, then they're gonna consider, okay, maybe we should cut our prices. That's really unfortunate. So I'm not big into regulation either, um, and government supervision. But I think that a a margin cap should be instilled, a profit margin cap, temporary, under the circumstances. Now, I think that corporations, major businesses, should get it together and talk about this themselves and do this shit themselves. During 9/11, when after the attacks, I mean, there was an industry-wide agreement that nobody will take short positions and short the market. The market was tanking. The American public was taking a beating. The country was taking a beating. People's retirements were being compromised. It was a grave situation, monetarily. I mean, obviously the attacks were awful, but monetarily, for people, it was a grave situation. Small businesses had to close and things like that. And every financial institution, major trader, got together and said, okay, no shorts. We're not going to short. We're not going to short. And this was an incredible opportunity to make a lot of money. And they all agreed. Yet, no government influence or anything. And yet, it was a beautiful thing. It was a warming thing, and I participated in it. I was a part of it, and it felt good to know that even the biggest scumbags in the country, like us, could decide that we would do something good for America. And I mean, I would like to see that now. I mean, I would like to see major corporations come out, oil companies come out. We're not going to raise our profits. We're going to reduce our profit margins. We're going to remain profitable, but there's no need for us to have these blowaway quarters and profit margins while the country is suffering. And it preserves the consumer, right? And this is the problem. This is the problem. Raising the interest rates is not going to solve this inflation issue. It's just not going to do it. I mean, it's not a demand issue. This is a supply issue. So all that's going to happen with raising, it's going to slow the demand, raising interest rates, but it's going to throw us into a recession, and it's going to cause a lot of harm for a lot of people, and it's not necessary. So these are the things we got to start looking at. These tariffs, I mean, stop waiting so long. Drop the fucking tariffs. It didn't do anything for China. I mean, they're on a lockdown. It doesn't matter. They're not buying shit anyway. Just shut it down. I mean, they didn't meet their purchase agreements for the tariffs that Trump put in. But I mean, right after we did that, everybody went into the fucking lockdown, into COVID. You can't expect these people to meet these purchase agreements. They got to take care of the country. I mean, I'm not a big China fan either, but I am a reasonable individual. What would I have done in that situation? My priority is not meeting trade agreements around the world. My priority is taking care of my people, taking care of my country. So that's the other thing they got to do. They got to axe out all these tariffs, and I think we still have tariffs on some European countries and some tariffs with Canada. I mean, what the fuck? I mean, you couldn't stop hearing from the Democrats when they were initiating the tariffs. Why are we 2 years into a Democratic term and we're still supporting or maintaining these tariffs? This guy. I don't know, Mr. Biden. This is one dude who lived too long. Although if he drops dead, then we're stuck with that other idiot that he ran on, that everybody elected just because she has breasts and a vagina, which now is not even fashionable. Nobody wants breasts and a vagina anymore. Everybody wants to be a they and remove their sex organs. Actually, I have a friend whose daughter wants to have her breast removed. I mean, like, tell me these people don't define what male and female is by taking these actions. It's just ridiculous. But anyway, another digression. How about we talk stocks? Right? This is like watching the sailing channels. All the sailing channels, nobody sails. Okay, so on a daily, man, all I got is oversold, and it's really hard. I mean, this is very erratic. It's not orderly trading. I mean, look at this, man. This is so oversold. This is just screaming for a bounce back. And yeah, we may get it today. I'm not too confident. And look, we got all these gaps to fill, so we could bounce back. I would rather we didn't fill any of these gaps. We just knock out that 3,300, and that's it. Start the rebuild, and then we could use these gaps as targets on the way up. But this baby, I mean, I wouldn't even take a short. We'll see what we're looking at, and this is the market. This is in the futures. We'll see what we're looking at. On the futures if we come back into fair value. But really, I mean, this area right here is still I would consider oversold. This red area is extremely oversold or undervalued, shall we call it? It's the people like to use a different term. And back when I was a young man and my balls didn't rub against my knees, we would call it oversold. But now we're calling it undervalued. So a move up. I mean, right now I'm thinking 3,900 is fair value for the market right now. Yeah, based on technicals. That has nothing to do with fundamentals. Fundamentally, the market could be valued a lot less, but it's going to have to consolidate to bring the technical value back down there. So technically, way, 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 way oversold, which would justify a bounce. It doesn't have to be an aggressive bounce. It could be a bounce just enough to close up these gaps. But again, I would rather leave these things because they're good targets, man. Let's just fucking tank. Give me a 300-point day in the S&P 500. Hit my bottom, and I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, I would bet those saggy balls that's the bottom. And that 3310 I was talking about, and then just get out of this. And look, I don't want that volatility on the way up. I want to go on vacation. I want to relax. I want the summer doldrums. I don't think we're going to see them this year, but I want the summer doldrums. So actually, let's just take one more look at the long term, and then take. Yeah, man. Even the momentum is supporting this move down. I mean, I'm not seeing a trend reversal. I thought we had a trend reversal right here, which we did, but then everybody got reactionary because of the numbers, and the numbers were a shock. They were hot. Weren't as bad as this reaction, but maybe everybody's kind of extrapolating the concept and figuring that this is uncontrollable, and it's going to force us into a deep recession. Um, so could be. But I don't know, man. I think that 33 is the number. I think it's the place to be. And there's a lot of technical theories on that I'm going to work on tonight, and maybe I'll go off on another tangent tomorrow. Actually, I've been having a good time talking. So, um, and it's good. I haven't felt this energetic in a few days, and maybe I will spill why. But okay, so on a short term, really, man, it just these pop days. We're still looking at up 70 points. You know, I mean, that's something. That's something. 70 points, and my mind is working slow. So, um, so hey, I mean that's huge. But I mean, we're testing this gap right here. So this gap at the open, this gap is going to pose a resistance, and that's kind of where the futures are trading right now, right around this gap right here, posing a resistance. So, I mean, this is a big move, man. You might get half a gap fill on this. I'm going to look at that, and the markets are so oversold that that might be supportive. You know, um, yeah, this is just it's just a hard trade. It's a hard trade because 70 points on the S&P, my mind is trading that's a lot of movement. You know, this is like a 40-point market, and 70 points, that's like twice what the movement should be. So that makes me very very leery. But on the other hand, that you have the momentum. I mean, you have this momentum pushing in. You've got this market entirely oversold, and you have this gap that it can close. You know, but to close the gap, I mean, you're talking about another 20 points. So you're talking about a 90-point move, which is not unheard of in the past few days or the past few months even. I mean, 150-point move on an S&P 500. I mean, you're seeing this shit, you know. So it's not an absurd trade or directional. So you're gonna have to watch that. I mean, if we drop down to a smaller time frame, what are we gonna do with it? I mean, there's really nothing we could do with it because it's blown everything out. You know, you know that's the 1 minute. Here's the 5 minute, and you know we're up there. So I mean, the only move you really have is a breaking high. You know, watch that breaking high. That's the only move that you have right now on a short term. So technically, I mean, it's a hard day to trade because of such aggressive momentum. If everybody has a different view, man, I'm open to it. So spill it, man, spill it. Share your thoughts. This is the interest rates. This is the 10 year, and she's closing up that gap. I mean, I still see 27. I bet I'm still looking for the 2.4 to float back down to 2.4, and I think that's fairly reasonable. I mean, bonds have really fucking moved, so I would expect a decent bounce. This is not a bad consolidation right there, but I would expect at one point we're going to get a 50% retrace, and that's around 25. I'm looking for that 24. I mean, you know, if it eases or tries to make that 60% retrace, we should see my 24. So I think that's fair. Keep an eye on that, and obviously that shit's going to happen while the market's going up. So it's going to be easy to see. But if you want to play it, you got TLT. You can go long bonds, or once we're down around that 60% area, I would go with TBT and then play the short. So we've been playing the short on TBT. I mean, we've been playing this thing since 15 or 17, and it's at about 28 right now. And I'm peeling some off on a double top. I'm gonna watch it on a double top. Here's TBT. Look for a double top in here, and then start peeling some off. Yeah, I'll just watch the Mac Daddy because the Mac Daddy's fading. You know, look, you can see a divergence right in here, and then I mean it's peaking with a divergence right in there. So I want to look for a short term double top and then fade out. That's it, man. That's it. Yeah, this is and that 24 number. That's a good number, man, because it's going to come back into this Ichimoto cloud. And let's see. Oh, BTC. I think I am the tip of the spear for BTC, man. I got in it and pierced its heart, and it fell apart. So, but the reality is, well, let's look at it on the daily. Yeah, it broke this consolidation. Well, this was a really nice consolidation. So now it's just grinding. I'm just going to sit back. I want to see another long term consolidation on this, and then a reversal. Um, no, it didn't change. Yeah, look at that on the weekly. It's like a real big bear flag. And this is just the hype, man. This is just the crazy hype. Where all the small retailers and like the meme stock junkies got involved in the markets, and the institutions stole your money. And even if this thing comes back down to 15,000, I mean, yeah, that's pretty good price for it. Yeah, 16, 15, 8. That's a good number. That's a real good number. So, but this is good experience. Everybody learned that this isn't a hedge for anything, and yeah, it's not replacing anything. It's a fucking volatile investment vehicle. That's all it is. Volatile trading vehicle. That's all it really is. At least right now, until the concept in the industry and the economy changes. It may find its place, but it's just a spec product, and that's fine. That's good as long as you're smart enough to play it that way. So, what else are we gonna look at? What else are we gonna look at? Interest rates. We looked at market. We looked at. All right. There's nothing else to look at. Let me be done. Nice long video. I hung out. I got to celebrate myself. I really enjoyed it. All right. So, hey, subscribe, hit the bell, hit the like. I appreciate it. Any support you guys want to throw, I appreciate that. I know I haven't really focused much on this channel, but yeah, all my free folk kind of swept this thing to the side. So, um, I mean, I'm kind of focusing on my business, but I do enjoy talking to everybody. So, yeah, I might revisit the whole concept and business model on this channel. Anyway, if you need me, man, just hit me up in the comments or shoot me an email. My email is listed in there, and I don't mind responding and helping anybody out, especially you guys that have stuck with me for so long and are always there participating in the channel. Just know that even though I'm not streaming, I'm here for you. And if you need any help or any questions asked, answered, that's cool. And I'm I'm considering making videos and dropping them on my Patreon channel, but um, I mean it's a lot of time. So anyway, I'll get back to you. Talk with you soon.